Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today we're going to have a love-hate story about carbs and bread. So many people love to hate carbs, and a lot of people that go without carbs have some amazing health changes for the positive in their life. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy for them. I have tried that. My husband and I have tried that. I think we went for about a year without eating traditional bread. I tried, of course, all the keto breads, or not all of them, because there's just thousands of variations of them now. I tried several using primarily the almond flour and some flaxseed meal or flaxseed flour, and then the little tortilla like things made with the flaxseed meal, an egg in the microwave. Those are very easy to do. They taste really great, but they do not compare, obviously, to regular wheat flour bread or tortillas. So the love story is we love carbs. The hate story is we don't like how easy it is to gain weight by eating bread. But as a Christian, we pray every day, give us our daily bread. And so I, I'm not keto. I'm not keto. I'm not low carb. I just try to do the logical thing, which is just to be kind of a portion control. And that can be a really hard thing to do when you have a lot of great food at your disposal, at your fingertips, that you're able to find in the store or at a restaurant if you're lucky enough or fortunate enough to go out to eat at restaurants at all or often. So portion control is probably more important to learn than counting your carbs, because you may give up counting your carbs like we did after a year and a half, but throughout your entire life you really should be practicing portion control. So I like my homemade bread. I use a bread machine on a super quick cycle. It takes 58 minutes, which is about as much time as it would take to get ready to go to the store, do your shopping, wait in line, check out, and come home. I mean, within an hour, you can have a fresh loaf of bread. And you know what's in it. You know everything that's in it. There's only like 4 ingredients. There's water, there's yeast, there's flour, and salt. And I put butter in it because that's what the first recipe in my bread machine called for, butter. And so I use that. And so you know what's in it. And I thought, well, you know what? One of these days my bread machine might burn out. They do. This is like the third or fourth one I think I've had since the very early 90s. They do burn out. And so I thought, well, maybe I should find a yeasted flatbread recipe. Long story short, there's not very many of those recipes out there. The one I found when I searched for it was by a gentleman named, and I had my page marked here, Paul Hollywood is his name, and I'll put a link to his recipe. He uses grams. I think he's on some BBC show. He sounds like an American. I think he is, but he came to fame in some British cooking show that I think it was a competition and he won it. So then he got his own show, or he co-hosts a show or something. But so I tried his recipe, which was the only one I could find. And it was very good, but he, unlike many flatbreads and even tortillas, they're cooked on a dry griddle or on a dry flat pan. He used oil. He sauteed his basically, or fried them, and they weren't deep fried. You put, a spoonful of oil or whatever in there, and you'd flip it and put a little more oil in. Well, they were pretty high calorie. So if you're one of the 3 people in the world that needs to gain weight, I can highly recommend that form of bread for you, because then you're going to turn around and probably put peanut butter or tuna fish or chicken salad or something on it too. So anyway, it's very good, but it's not something I would want to use all the time. a little bit labor intensive because each of the breads, as you can imagine, has to be rolled out on the countertop. So there's a lot of hands-on, literally, work for that, as opposed to a bread machine, which is just pop the ingredients in, make sure there's enough water or flour, make sure the balance is right, and then get the mix. For me, I like to take the mixing paddle out. It makes less of a hole in the bottom of the loaf, and then it just goes and does its thing. So I prefer the bread machine, and I'll use it until I burn it up and can't get another one. But the flatbread is really good. If you want to gain some weight, like if you have somebody in your life, in particular, an elderly parent or friend or relative that is losing a lot of weight, like sadly, my mom lost an awful lot of weight. She went from like 130 to down to like literally 78 pounds. So folks like that, they need all the calories they can get. And so they're not going to be wanting to give up their bread, hopefully, as long as I can eat it. So our daily bread, I'm hoping that you might try making some yourself, because 4 ingredients plus maybe butter makes for 5, and it's all in your hands. You know how it's been handled. You know what's gone into it, what hasn't gone into it. You can pronounce all the ingredients. It's not going to last more than 2 or 3 days. It'll start getting very stale very quickly, but it's very good while it's fresh. And if you make a small loaf, like I do, a 1-pound loaf with 2 cups of flour, you won't have any trouble eating it in a couple, 3 days. Trust me on that. So on that, thanks for listening, and I hope you'll consider portion control, not giving up bread completely, but just being more aware of how much of it you're eating and how much of anything you're eating in your life, and just kind of become a little more conservative in that regard, at least. Thanks. Catch you next time.